Think your brain needs sugar to survive? Wrong. After just 24 hours of fasting, your brain flips the switch and starts running on fat. This one change could unlock energy, clarity, and repair your doctor never told you about. All right, my name is Mark Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach, and this is my video on unlocking metabolic flexibility, the profound benefits of fasting. So let's get into it. Your brain runs on fat during fasting. Most people believe fasting simply means not eating. This fundamental misunderstanding explains why so many struggle to access fasting's profound metabolic benefits. True fasting represents a distinct metabolic state. The body can coordinates a complete shift from relying on external nutrients to mobilizing internal energy stores, right? And external nutrients typically means glucose and sugars and carbohydrates. The difference lies in insulin suppression, not necessarily calorie reduction, right? Insulin's the key. The metabolic switch that changes everything. When insulin levels fall significantly during fasting, the body initiates a coordinated metabolic transformation. Glucagon and catecholamines rise, stimulating glycogen breakdown, gluconeogenesis, and lipolysis. Okay? This process releases fatty acids that convert into ketone bodies. The liver becomes a ketone production facility, generating alternative fuel sources for organs throughout the body. Simple calorie reduction cannot trigger this metabolic switch. Frequent feeding or elevated insulin levels interrupt the fasting signals, preventing the body from accessing stored energy efficiently. The timeline matters precisely. Between 16 to 24 hours of fasting, insulin levels drop below 6 microunits per milliliter. This threshold allows increased lipolysis in the beginning of ketone production. Ketone levels of at least 0.5 millimolar after a 24-hour fast indicate the metabolic switch to fat burning. This measurement serves as a practical surrogate for insulin levels because ketogenesis only occurs when insulin remains sufficiently suppressed. So it all goes back to insulin again, right? Your brain adaptation challenges glucose dependency. So one of the things everyone told us is that your brain needs glucose to run on. The brain's adaptation to ketone utilization represents one of the most remarkable aspects of metabolic flexibility. Conventional wisdom suggests the brain absolutely requires glucose to function. Recent research reveals that during fasting, ketones can supply 60 to 70% of the brain's energy requirements. This adaptation occurs through upregulation of monocarboxylate transporters on the blood-brain barrier and neuronal membranes. As ketone levels rise above 0.5 millimolars, right, the brain progressively reduces glucose consumption. Neurons adopt their mitochondrial metabolism to efficiently oxidize ketones, producing acetyl-CoA that enters the TCA cycle for ATP generation. Ketones provide cleaner burning fuel than glucose. They produce fewer reactive oxygen species while supporting neuronal health through neuroprotective, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties. This metabolic rewiring increases cerebral blood flow by approximately 39%. Enhanced oxygen and nutrient delivery to the brain explains why many individuals report improved mental clarity and sustained cognitive performance during ketosis. The brain can function optimally even when blood glucose levels drop as low as 27 milligrams a deciliter, right? Ketone production against hypoglycemic symptoms, ensuring survival and cognitive performance during extended fasting periods. Your brain was built to run on ketones. Okay? So let's look at the evolutionary context of metabolic flexibility. Human metabolic flexibility evolved under selective pressures of intermittent food availability. Throughout most of human evolution, food scarcity lasted days or weeks, requiring efficient utilization of stored energy. The human brain demands approximately 600 calories a day daily, mostly from glucose under normal feeding, which means you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, right? Relying solely on glucose during food shortages would have proven fatal. Ketone utilization provided a reliable alternative fuel source. This adaptation ensured continuous brain function while maintaining cognitive ability necessary for finding food and surviving. Fat storage evolved as the superior energy reserve strategy. The body stores glucose as glycogen, but these reserves contain only about 900 calories for the average person, sufficient for roughly 1 day of energy needs. Fat provides 9 calories per gram compared to carbohydrates, 4 calories per gram. This energy density allows humans to store large amounts of energy efficiently without excessive weight gain. Metabolic flexibility likely contributed to human brain evolution. The ability to maintain cognitive function during fasting increased survival chances, providing strong evolutionary advantages that shaped our current metabolic machinery. And then we just have all the hormones and how they orchestrate to preserve muscle while mobilizing fat, which is always a big concern when you're thinking about fasting, right? So, fasting triggers a sophisticated hormonal response that mobilizes energy while preserving uh, lean muscle mass. This coordination involves glucagon, growth hormone, and adrenaline working in concert. Glucagon initiates the transition from energy storage to energy mobilization. As insulin falls, right? Glucagon promotes glycogen breakdown, glucose production from amino acids, and glycerol and triglyceride breakdown into free fatty acids. Remember, so your body can produce glucose from amino acids, right? So that's why you don't need to eat glucose to feed those few functions that require glucose. By maintaining blood glucose through these mechanisms, glucagon reduces the need for excessive muscle protein breakdown. This protein-sparing effect preserves lean muscle mass during energy deficit. Growth hormone secretion increases dramatically during fasting. Research demonstrates that a 24-hour fast increases growth hormone levels by 1,300% in women and 2,000% in men. Growth hormone enhances fat breakdown by activating enzymes like lipoprotein lipase and hepatic lipase. Simultaneously, it inhibits muscle protein breakdown while supporting gluconeogenesis without excessive muscle catabolism. Gluconeogenesis is that effect of breaking down amino acids into glucose that your liver does for us, okay? So adrenaline completes the hormonal symphony by activating the sympathetic nervous system. It stimulates hormone-sensitive lipase, breaking down stored triglycerides into free fatty acids and glycerol for energy. The released fatty acids fuel muscles and other tissues, reducing reliance on glucose and sparing muscle protein. Adrenaline also increases resting energy expenditure, supporting efficient utilization of fat stores. This integrated hormonal response maintains energy supply and basal metabolic rate while preserving muscle mass. The coordination enables survival during fasting without compromising physical capabilities. Because that's important, because if you had to go hunt for stuff, you need the energy for that and the muscle mass. It also activates a lot of cellular repair mechanisms beyond calorie restriction. Simple reducing calories will not activate this stuff. So fasting activates cellular repair processes that simple calorie reduction cannot trigger. The most significant mechanism involves autophagy, the body's natural cellular cleaning process. Autophagy breaks down and recycles damaged, old, or dysfunctional cellular components. This process requires low insulin levels and nutrient scarcity, particularly suppression of the mTOR pathway. When nutrients become abundant, mTOR inhibits autophagy. Fasting removes this inhibition, allowing cells to clear damaged proteins and organelles that could cause cellular dysfunction. Research shows autophagy activation begins after 12 to 16 hours of fasting, peaking around 24 to 48 hours. This timeline corresponds with the metabolic switch to ketosis and significant insulin suppression. Autophagy supports regeneration and repair processes that contribute to longevity and disease prevention. The mechanism plays direct roles in clearing toxic proteins that characterize neurodegenerative conditions. Right? You caught that? Right? Neurodegenerative conditions. Autophagy helps clear those out. Fasting also induces metabolic stress that promotes mitochondrial health. The activation of AMPK and PGC1 alpha pathways supports mitochondrial adaptations, improving energy production and metabolic flexibility, which is something you want. The dual action of inhibiting growth signals while activating repair signals creates optimal conditions for cellular renewal. Falling glucose and insulin levels remove the brakes on these repair mechanisms. Additionally, fasting reduces systematic inflammation by lowering pro-inflammatory cytokines and oxidative stress. This anti-inflammatory effect stems partially from improved insulin sensitivity and reduced insulin levels. And your insulin sensitivity increases very quickly under fasting conditions. There's evidence-based fasting protocols, right? So just think about these. Effective fasting protocols must leverage the metabolic mechanisms of insulin suppression and ketone production. So remember, we're looking at the ketone productions as a key component of this. The timing and duration determines whether these beneficial processes activate. Daily 16-hour fasts with an 8-hour eating window represent the most widely supported approach. This duration typically allows insulin levels to fall sufficiently while initiating ketone production and autophagy. Extended daily fasts of 18 to 20 hours can deepen ketosis and autophagy activation. These longer windows enhance fat mobilization and cellular repair processes beyond what shorter fasts achieve. Alternate day fasting involves 24-hour fasts every other day. This protocol has demonstrated benefits in insulin sensitivity, weight management, and longevity markers without serious adverse effects. Periodic longer fasts of 24 to 36 hours, once or twice weekly, provide stronger metabolic challenges. These extended periods promote deeper autophagy and mitochondrial adaptations. The metabolic switch generally occurs between 16 to 24 hours of fasting. Ketone levels rising above 0.5 millimoles indicate effective fat oxidation and autophagy activation. Fasts shorter than 16 hours may not fully activate autophagy. Okay? Conversely, fasts longer than 24 to 36 hours increase risks of nutrient deficiencies and electrolyte imbalances without proper management. So we it's got to weigh the benefits here. Individual factors including age, health status, activity level, and metabolic flexibility influence optimal fasting duration. Ketone monitoring helps personalize fasting protocols for maximum benefits. Once again, just real quickly, if you're switching to a ketogenic carnivore type of a diet, I would not suggest fasting until you go through a 4 to 6 week period of moving off of your standard American diet, which is very high in carbohydrates, to one that is very low in carbohydrates. Then start thinking about fasting, because you need to get your body adapted to burning fat. And that makes the whole process work a whole lot better. Okay? So managing adaptation and minimizing the side effects. Initial fasting symptoms result from the metabolic transition from glucose to ketones as primary energy sources. If you're just switching to a ketogenic carnivore type of a diet and you give yourself that 4 to 6 week, maybe even an 8 week period of time to adapt to it, this becomes a non-issue, right? Understanding these mechanisms helps distinguish normal adaptation from problematic responses. During the first 12 to 24 hours, cells adapt to using ketones instead of glucose. If you're already using ketones, because you've already switched to fat burning, then this is really not an issue. This metabolic switch can cause temporary weakness, dizziness, headaches, and irritability as the body adjusts. Once again, if you're already fat adapted, this is not an issue. Fasting lowers insulin, reducing sodium reabsorption in the kidneys. This is why, if you're on a ketogenic or carnivore type diet, we do like to talk about taking um, sodium and a couple other minerals when you're hydrating, right? You need to replace some of those because you're just not storing them as much. Increased sodium in water excretion creates diuretic effects that can cause dehydration and electrolyte imbalances. Once you've gone through fat adaptation, though, this becomes less of a problem, but I still strongly recommend drinking a water that has additional sodium and magnesium and potassium in it to help keep your electrolytes balanced. Stress hormones like cortisol, this is a big one, and adrenaline initially rise to maintain blood glucose and energy availability. These hormonal adjustments may cause feelings of jitteriness and anxiety until levels stabilize. Once again, once you become fat adapted, this happens less, and it's not as much of a problem. Normal metabolic adaptation involves mild transient symptoms that resolve within a few days as ketone production increases and electrolyte balance restores. Mental clarity and energy typically improve after this initial phase. Warning signs requiring medical attention include severe weakness, lots of dizziness, confusion, fainting, persistent nausea, or inability to maintain hydration, right? So if you're going to do this, adapt into it slowly, and if you're having any of these problems, do talk to your doctor. These symptoms may indicate hypoglycemia, dehydration, or dangerous electrolyte imbalances, right? So just keep that in mind. Supporting adaptation involves maintaining proper hydration and supplementing with electrolytes including sodium, potassium, and magnesium. We talked about that. Starting with shorter fasts allows the body to adapt more gradually. Don't go into a big 72-hour fast if you've been eating a standard American diet and say, "Oh, I'm just going to fast for 72 hours." You're not going to like it, okay? Get into getting used to it. Breaking fast with nutrient-dense, low-carbohydrate, moderate-protein meals supports metabolic stability, right? I.e., a ketogenic carnivore-type diet. Avoiding high-carbohydrate refeeding prevents insulin spikes that halt ketosis and autophagy. Become fat-adapted and stay fat-adapted. So, maximize your cellular benefits safely. The science reveals fasting as a distinct metabolic state with benefits extending far beyond simple calorie reduction. The coordinated hormonal response preserves muscle while mobilizing fat stores efficiently. Ketone production transforms brain metabolism, providing cleaner fuel that enhances cognitive function. The evolutionary adaptation that ensured survival during food scarcity now offers therapeutic potential for modern health challenges. Autophagy activation during fasting triggers cellular repair mechanisms unavailable through other dietary interventions. This process clears damaged cellular components while supporting longevity and disease prevention. Evidence-based protocols containing 16 to 18-hour daily fasts with periodic 24-hour fasts effectively leverage these mechanisms. Monitoring ketone levels and symptoms guides personalized approaches for optimal safety and efficacy. The metabolic flexibility demonstrated through fasting presents a fundamental aspect of human physiology. Understanding these mechanisms empowers individuals to access the unique cellular benefits that distinguishes true fasting from simple calorie restriction. Okay? Proper implementation requires attention to hydration, electrolyte balance, and general adaptation. This scientific foundation enables safe application of fasting protocols for enhanced metabolic health and cellular regeneration. And once again, on a final note here, right? A lot of people say, I can't fast, I get too hungry. Once you're fat adapted, once you've gone through a period of moving off of carbohydrates, because the reason you're hungry is carbohydrates trigger hormones that make you hungry. Okay? Once you get used to not eating carbohydrates, all your ketogenic carnivore diets produce hormones that actually cause satiety. You really just aren't hungry anymore, right? One simple meal, a good meal on a carnivore ketogenic diet, usually you're not hungry till the next day or longer, right? Fasting becomes very easy to do, and a lot of people I work with just fast because they're not hungry. And I actually have to remind them to eat. You got to keep your nutrient level up, right? So make fasting part of your planned program, but make sure that you're adapted to it before you do it, and your body will love you for it. All right? Okay, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the appropriate section. We are building a community here. And if you have some ideas for things that you want to know about in terms of your metabolism and how to be healthier, let me know. And we'll try to get those videos up for you as soon as possible. And as always, if you haven't done so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. It helps our channel a great deal, so thank you for that. And you're going to help a bunch of other people. So have a great day.